The Awakening Within. A manifesto on presence, alignment, and awareness. Chapter 1. The Driver and the Vehicle. At the core of human experience lies a fundamental distinction that modern life often obscures: the difference between who we are and the instrument we inhabit. Imagine a vehicle as the physical body and its driver as the essence within. The vehicle being comprised of the physical body, the brain, the emotions, and the analytical mind. It is designed to navigate the material world, to sense, process, react, and operate within physical reality. The driver, however, is something far deeper. The driver is pure, quiet, observing awareness, the silent witness behind your eyes, the eternal presence that notices every thought, feeling, and sensation without being defined by them. For most of human history, and particularly in the modern era, humanity has lost sight of this relationship. We have mistaken the movement of the machine for the identity of the operator. When the mind feels chaotic, we say, "I am anxious." When the body feels exhausted, we say, "I am broken." But the driver is neither anxious nor broken. The driver is simply observing the state of the vehicle. To awaken is not to alter or destroy the vehicle, but to remember who is in the driver's seat. When you step back into pure awareness, you recognize that thoughts are merely weather patterns passing through the sky of your consciousness. You are not the storm. You are the sky. Chapter 2. The Ego as the Over-Vigilant Protector. If the driver is pure awareness, how did the vehicle take control? The answer lies in the nature of the ego. The ego was never meant to be an enemy. In origin, it developed as a protective mechanism, a system designed to ensure physical survival, navigate social structures, and guard against threat and pain. However, in our modern, hyper-stimulated world, this protective mechanism has become over-vigilant. Without the conscious steering of the driver, the ego attempts to manage every aspect of existence. It scans constantly for threats, craves validation, feeds on comparison, and creates internal friction. It manufactures endless mental chatter, convincing us that if we stop thinking, analyzing, or worrying for even a moment, everything will fall apart. We often cling to this noise because the ego creates a compelling narrative, a story of struggle, identity, and personal drama that we secretly desire to believe in. But this incessant activity is exhausting. It is the friction of an engine running at high RPM while the transmission is disengaged. Recognizing that the ego is an over-vigilant protector rather than your true identity is the first critical step toward relief and inner clarity. Chapter 3. The Path to Presence and Non-Judgmental Observation. Many spiritual and self-improvement paths advocate fighting the mind, suppressing egoic thoughts, or forcing stillness through sheer willpower. But using force against the vehicle only generates more noise and resistance. The true path to presence does not require struggle. It requires non-judgmental observation. When a disturbing thought or emotional wave arises, the instinct of the ego is to react, to judge it, resist it, or analyze why it is there. The driver, by contrast, simply observes. Observe the instrument. Watch the mind generate thoughts just as you would watch leaves floating down a stream. Do not attempt to grab the leaves or stop the water. release the need to fix. Allow sensations in the body and thoughts in the mind to exist without labeling them as good or bad. Shift from striving to being. Stillness is not something you create. It is what remains when unnecessary effort subsides. By stepping back into the quiet space of the driver, you allow the internal noise to settle naturally. You are no longer fighting the vehicle. You are simply allowing it to return to baseline while you hold the wheel with a soft, steady grip. Chapter 4: The Art of Coexistence and Collective Consciousness. Awakening within is not an invitation to retreat from the world into isolated meditation. The ultimate test and realization of presence lie in the art of coexistence, living fully awake inside a loud, complex, and frantic society. Today's world is engineered to exploit the ego. Digital platforms, media feeds, and commercial forces thrive on triggering outrage, fear, and addictive engagement. They speak directly to the over-vigilant protector, amplifying the loudest and most provocative voices to keep human consciousness fractured and reactive. When you recognize that the ego is a self-imposed illusion, your relationship to this noise transforms. Understanding the universal substrate. Beyond individual awareness lies a collective consciousness, a shared substrate of being that connects all life. The division between self and other is merely a boundary created by the ego, standing anchored in the storm. When you move through society as the driver, you no longer absorb the outrage and anxiety around you. You become a stabilizing presence, an anchor of quiet awareness in a room full of noise. Responding versus reacting. Free from egoic defensiveness, you can engage with others, make decisions, and take action from a place of alignment, compassion, and clarity rather than reactivity. By stepping back from the shouting world and returning to the quiet anchor of your own presence, you fulfill the true intention of consciousness: to be fully awake, fully present, and peacefully integrated within the world.